Hello everyone, hope you are doing good. Now, last class we had done with uh, that how to write down the chemical formula. We know radicals, we know the valency, and we know how to maintain, how to write down the chemical formulas. We had done a lot of questions related to that also. Okay, now the next thing we are going to do is chemical reaction. Chemical reaction, or better I'll say it, chemical equation. Chemical equation. Now, what is chemical equation? What is chemical equation? Some chemical reactions are taking place. Chemical reactions means what? When certain chemicals are combining chemically, that is permanently, and changed into some other chemicals, that is called chemical reactions. Now, suppose if I say that some amount of coal is burnt in air. Some amount of coal in burnt in air. So in words, if I write, I will write it like this: coal plus air, okay, and that is going to produce carbon dioxide gas. So that is the word representation of the chemical process. The whole chemical process is represented by the words, okay. But it's very tough every time to represent the chemical changes by the words, and hence the chemical equations are used. What is chemical equations? It is nothing but the symbolical representation of the chemical reactions. Symbolical representation of the chemical changes. The same reaction, how do we write here? We write it like this: C. In place of coal, we write C. It's nothing but carbon. Plus, in place of air, we write O2 because it's the oxygen of the air with which it is actually reacting. And we know the molecular formula of carbon dioxide. We are writing carbon dioxide over here. So this is just way of representing a chemical equation. Okay. So chemical equation is what? It's nothing but symbolical way of representing the chemical changes. Okay. Fine. But we have to go in the detail of it simply. How to write down the chemical reaction. Obviously, you can understand from here only that the first step we should follow is that we should write down the symbols, rather I should say the formula, okay? Molecular formula generally. Carbon is monoatomic molecule, that is why it is written as C, okay? Molecular formula of every individual undergoing the reaction. Whichever is undergoing the reaction, we are going to write down the molecular formula of it. That's the first thing, with the positive sign in between them. With some positive sign in between them. Number 2. We are going to write down the same for the product or products. It can be more than one product. I am just writing another reaction. You can understand that HCl, that is hydrochloric acid, molecular formula of hydrochloric acid, plus NaOH, that is molecular formula of sodium hydroxide. These two are undergoing reaction. And third point is that we are going to add, or we are going to put an arrow in between the compounds which are undergoing reaction and the compounds which are going to produce. An arrow is going to produce what? Is going to produce NaCl and H2O. This is the very basic thing we are studying, and you know this thing little bit. Okay. So what is there? We have written the compounds which is undergoing the reaction, and within them or in between them we had written some positive sign. We had written symbolical representation or the molecular formulas of the compounds which are produced, and in between them we had put some positive sign. The compounds which are undergoing the reaction are called, you must know these terms now, are called the reactants. Okay, they are called reactants. So HCl and NaOH are the reactants, and the compounds which are produced, the molecules which are produced, are called products. Okay, this is reactants and products. Okay, And how to write a chemical reaction? Whichever is undergoing the reaction, those undergone chemicals are just symbolized by their molecules with a positive sign in between them. And then in the other side also, in the right hand side also, we write down the ones which are produced, okay, and those are called products with a positive sign in between them. Okay, so this is one. Then chemical reactions now can be of different types. It may involve, actually, let us just see the 4 types rather, okay, 4 types. It may be more than that also, but just the basic 4 types you are going to see. You must understand this. Okay, the 4 types are that the first type, there is 2 reactants and 1 product. Okay, for example, just now I wrote C plus O2 producing CO2. 2 reactants are there, carbon and oxygen, and how many products are there? 1 product is there. Okay, next one. One reactant and 2 products. 1 reactant and 2 products. Okay, for example, suppose CaCO3 when undergone reaction, it produces CaO plus CO2. Calcium carbonate is undergoing reaction to produce calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. That is, 1 reactant is converted into what? Converted into 2 products. Okay, so that's absolutely fine. Next one, the third type, 2 reactants and 2 products. 2 reactants, that also we had seen. 2 reactants and 2 products. Just the example I had written, just like that you can write HCl plus NaOH producing NaCl plus H2O. So 2 reactants and 2 products. And the last main type I should say is the 2 reactants, the fourth one, just the basic type, 2 reactants and more than 2 products. More than 2 products. For example, suppose copper plus H2SO4 producing copper sulfate plus SO2 plus H2O. Copper sulfate plus SO2 plus H2O. I will come to this 2. Why did I write 2 here? Why did I write 2 here? I will come to this. But here, how many reactants are there? The number of reactants are 2 and the number of products are 3. Okay. So these are the 4 main types or main basic types of reactants. Rather the chemical reactions which are taking place, and we are just writing the equations by writing their symbols and all. Okay. Now the next thing you have to know one term which is called the skeleton of the reaction. Skeleton of the reaction. Now, what do you understand by skeleton of a reaction? Now, suppose this particular reaction only, if I take this particular reaction and if I write it like this, Cu plus H2SO4 producing CuSO4 plus SO2 plus H2O. Does it tell everything? It tells everything, that copper is reacting with sulfuric acid, is producing copper sulfate, sulfur dioxide and water. This is the skeleton. And on top of that we had added the flesh over here. This is flesh, this is flesh. Now why did we add? We'll come to that. But before that you must understand that what is skeleton. Skeleton means just writing down the symbols of the molecules undergoing the reaction with the addition sign in between them, and the products with the addition sign in between them, and in between the reactants and products, there will be a single-headed arrow. Okay, fine. So this is what is the basics of chemical reaction, and this is what we call skeleton chemical reaction. This is the real chemical reaction or chemical equation. This is a base skeleton of a chemical equation. Okay. Now this skeleton chemical reaction is not appropriate. We have to add flesh to it. I am telling flesh means what we have to do, we have to balance the equation. The next one is balancing equation. Next one is balancing equation. Balancing equation. Now there are so many ways of balancing the chemical equation. Balancing chemical equations. Chemical equations. There are so many ways by which we can balance the equation, but at your level, the toughest one, rather I should say toughest one means what? It's not the toughest one, you don't have to understand anything, it's nothing like that. It's time consuming one, okay, which is called the heat and trial method. Heat and trial method. That means, or this is also known as trial and error method. This is also called trial and error method. Heat and trial method. By heat and trial method only we have to balance it. Okay. That is just by seeing that how much to be added to balance the thing. Okay. Now the first thing before going to that, we should understand that why should we balance it? Why should we balance it? Why? What is the reason? What is the reason for balancing it? The one and only reason of balancing it. One and only reason of balancing it, to follow the law of conservation of mass. Law of conservation of mass. Okay, what is law of conservation of mass? Says that mass can neither be created nor be destroyed. That means mass is constant. How do we apply that? We should apply that in this way, that total mass of the reactants must be equal, because reactants are changed into products. So whatever mass of the reactants were there, that will be the total mass of the products. Okay. To follow this, we have to do the balancing. Suppose if I would have kept it like this, as the skeleton. You see what are present over here? Copper is there. How many copper is there? 1. Hydrogen is there. How many hydrogen is there? 2. Sulfur is there. How many sulfur is there? 1. Oxygen is there. How many oxygen is there? 4. Whereas in the product, the same elements are there, but how many of them are there? Copper, how many is there? 1. Sulfur, you see sulfur 1 and 2. 2 sulfurs are there. Oxygen, how many are there? 4 and 2, that is 7, and 6 and 1, 7. Okay, so oxygen is 7, and hydrogen, how many are there? Hydrogen, there are 2. So you see, copper is okay, fine. That is maintaining the law of conservation of mass. Okay, but is the total thing maintaining the law of conservation of mass? No, hydrogen is also okay, equal in number. Fine, but sulfur, you see, that's not an equal number. Not in equal number. In this side the sulfur is 1, in the other side the sulfur is 2. Oxygen is in this side, the oxygen is 4, in the other side the oxygen is 7. Obviously the mass in that other side, in the product side, will be more than that of the reactant side. So that is not obeying the law of conservation of mass. And since it is not obeying the law of conservation of mass, this equation is only the skeleton. It just says that what are the reactants and what are the products. It does not say arranged or balanced chemical equation. So balancing of a chemical equation is a very important thing, and that we do by what? That we do by heat and trial method, or you can say that trial and error method. Simple one. So here you see, what did I do? Here we don't know this. We don't know this. But we know that this is the equation. Now we have to balance it. See, here Cu is balanced already, so we are not going to touch Cu. Here oxygen is, how many oxygens are there? 4 oxygens are there. Okay, so if we make it, obviously we have to increase the number of oxygen. So if we increase the number of oxygen, we have to multiply this by 2. If we multiply this by 2, it is becoming how much? 8. Total number, this is trial and error method, you have to practice, but that's all. So total number of oxygen is 8. Now let us see how many oxygen is there in this side. 4 and 2 6 and 1 7. So we have to increase 1. Now if I write 2 over here, this is 2, 2 4 and 4 8. Oxygen is balanced. Now see the condition of sulfur. How many sulfur is there? 2 sulfur is there. How many sulfur is there? 2 sulfur is there. Hydrogen is how many there? 4 hydrogens are there. 4 hydrogens are there. This equation is balanced now. That is what is trial and error method. Okay, that is what is trial and error method. Now what is this? Hydrogen, how many are there? Hydrogen 4 are there. Sulfur, how many there? Sulfur 2 are there. Oxygen, how many there? Oxygen 8 are there. So sulfur 2, oxygen 8 and hydrogen 4. See, now it is balanced. Everything is balanced over here. That is our intention in balancing the equation. As I mentioned you already, as I told you already, that balancing is a must. Okay, that is a must. You have to balance it, and balancing has to be learned. Learned means what? It's not that you have to mug up. Balancing has to be done with the trial and error method, and you are going to do the trial and error method as you practice a lot. Okay, there are so many equations in your exercise which you are going to practice, and you are going to say that, you are going to balance, you are going to try to balance those equations. Okay, now the next thing is that what are the limitation of these chemical reactions? Now it is that everything is fine over here. No, everything is not fine in these chemical reactions. There are certain limitations in this chemical equation what we wrote over here. What are the limitations? You see here, it did not tell us anything about, it did not limitation of chemical equations. Okay, limitations means drawbacks of chemical equation. What are the limitations which we have to overcome? The first one, does it tell, okay, this is balanced equation I had written, this is 2H2SO4, 2H2O, that is balanced equation I had written, fine. It is telling only the law of conservation of mass. But does it tell what is the state of copper? Whether it is solid or liquid or gas, does it tell? No, this equation does not tell. Or this, or this, or this. Does it tell anything? Nothing is told. Nothing is told. Yes? Okay. So what we have to know is that what we can't say from the chemical equation is that states of matter, states of the compounds, whether they are solid, there can be 4 states: solids or liquids. Liquids, whenever writing, means pure liquid. Okay, gaseous, or we call it aqueous solution, means it's not liquid, it is a solution, means something is dissolved in water, that is aqueous solution. So these are 4 different states, but none of them is written over here. But in a proper chemical equation, we must note down this. How to note down this? If any reactant or product are solid, after writing the symbol of that particular compound or particular molecule, okay, we write S within the bracket of it. If it is liquid, we write L within bracket. If it is gaseous, we write G within bracket. If it is aqueous solution, we write AQ in bracket. Okay. In this case, if we want to write down the state, I am taking an example and I am doing it. Okay. In this case, if we want to write down the example, the states, here it must be solid. Copper is solid. H2SO4 obviously is aqueous. Sulfuric acid is aqueous. Copper sulfate is again solid. Sulfur dioxide is gas, and water, as you know, is liquid. Clear? See, we had covered, I think, all the states over here. All different states are covered in this particular reaction. So you understood that how to represent the states. That is one thing which is not mentioned in the normal chemical reactions. Okay. Second thing, I'm just telling you the important point. Second thing, we don't mention that how fast the reaction is taking place. Is it taking place very fast? Is it taking place slowly? How fast does the reaction takes place? Nothing is told in the reaction. This how fast is called kinetics of the reaction. As I told, when you grow up in class 11, 12, you are going to learn all these things. Kinetics of the reaction is not told. Means the speed of the reaction. Kinetics means what? Speed of the reaction is nothing about the speed of the reaction is told in this particular by the chemical equation. Okay, speed is not told. Okay, then the third point, these are the limitations, you must understand this. So here we cannot tell about the speed. Third one, the third one is what you know. It does not tell anything about the heat. It does not tell anything about the heat. During a chemical reaction, two possibilities are there. During a chemical reaction, there are only two possibilities. One, either the heat will be absorbed during the reaction, or heat will be released during the reaction. Now, in this case, whether the heat is absorbed or heat is released, nothing is told in this particular chemical equation. Okay, so that is another point of limitation of chemical reaction, that about the heat, nothing is told in the chemical equation. The fourth point of limitation is that it does not tell whether the reaction is completed or not. The reaction is completed or not. It is not told. Okay, whether this reaction I had written, is it completed or not completed? Means, in our words, in scientific words, we call it, is it reversible? Is it reversible? If it is reversible, it won't be completed, it will revert back. Or it is irreversible. Nothing is told in this normal chemical equations. Okay, these are actually the limitations of chemical equation. Okay, now one more point. Let me tell you one more point. It does not tell anything about the presence of this reaction. The normal chemical equation does not tell anything about the presence of any catalyst. You know catalyst? What is catalyst? Catalyst is the one which is enhancing, which is speeding up the reaction. Some foreign substance which is speeding up the reaction. Whether the catalyst is there or not, whether it is speeding up the reaction or not, nothing is told in this chemical equation. Okay, so these are actually the drawbacks of this. Okay, now if I try to write one more reaction, I'm just trying to write one more reaction first, and then two I will write. Then you can understand two more things, and then you can balance the equation. The balancing is the most important thing, but that's all. Okay, now see, if I write one reaction like this, okay, N2 plus 3H2 produces 2NH3. I just wrote the balanced chemical equation. See, I just wrote the balanced chemical equation. But is it completed? No. It does not tell anything, whichever limitations are there I told. Now I am writing over here. I am writing G within bracket here, G within bracket here, G within bracket here. Fine. All are gaseous substances, so I wrote them within bracket. That means I mentioned the state of the reaction. That was your first limitation. The second limitation was it cannot tell anything about the speed of the reaction. Speed of the reaction is not told by any chemical equation. So that is always the limitation. The third limitation is whether the heat is absorbed or released. Okay, in this case the heat is released, means produced. Heat is produced. So I will write here plus heat. Plus heat. It is showing you that the heat is produced. If heat would have been absorbed, then I would have written plus heat in the reactant side. This plus heat means heat is absorbed and then the product is produced. Clear? Okay. Then complete reversible or irreversible we didn't write. That also at this moment I am not going to explain. We can do that, but we are not going to do this. So this is also beyond the scope of you. Then does not tell anything about the presence of the catalyst. In this particular reaction, let me tell you, in this particular reaction, iron is used as the catalyst. So we can write here on top of the arrow iron, and along with iron there is one more substance used. One more substance is used. Iron obviously is solid. Okay. Along with that, one more substance is used which is further catalyzing the reaction, and that is molybdenum. So here I had written so many other informations I had given to you. Now from this equation, what can we say? That nitrogen gas, one molecule of nitrogen gas reacting with 3 molecules of a hydrogen gas in presence of iron catalyst and molybdenum catalyst, okay, producing 2 molecules of ammonia gas, and during the reaction heat is released. Yes, so many information I could tell from this symbol. Yes. Now one more point I should tell you, that is, I'm just writing again 2 reactions and again telling you. Suppose silver nitrate and sodium chloride are reacting, producing silver chloride and what is that? So silver chloride and sodium nitrate. Okay. Now let us write down the states of it. Silver nitrate is aqueous. Okay, I'm writing in the other color. Silver nitrate is aqueous. Sodium chloride we had also taken aqueous solution. Whenever we added, the silver chloride is precipitated. We call precipitated, means 2 liquids we added and a solid is produced and it is settling down at the bottom. That is called precipitation. If a solid produced, obviously that solid will be settling down at the bottom of the liquid. That is what is called precipitated. So this is a solid and this is precipitated. That precipitation is denoted by a downhead arrow. So wherever you will find a downhead arrow means during the reaction that precipitate is formed, we call it precipitate is formed, and that precipitate is settling down at the bottom. That is the meaning of that downhead arrow. And sodium nitrate obviously is in aqueous solution state. So this is your complete reaction. Obviously I didn't write about the heat. Here also the heat is generated. So plus heat we can write. Okay. Plus heat we can write. Okay. This is one thing. One more thing, let me tell you. One more thing. Suppose the same reaction, whichever I wrote, I am writing the same reaction only. That's CuSO4. Okay. CuSO4. Whatever I had written, CuSO4 plus 2H2SO4, 2H2SO4 producing Cu plus 2H2SO4 producing CuSO4 plus SO2 plus 2H2. Okay, that is the reaction I had written. Now Cu is what? That is solid. This you know, aqueous. This already we know, aqueous. This is aqueous. This is solid. Copper sulfate is solid. So this is also precipitating down. Okay, this is gaseous and this is liquid. So here one of the products is gas, which is that sulfur dioxide. If any one of the product or more than one product is gaseous, then that is represented by a half-fed arrow. So you understood the difference between the the downward arrow and the upward arrow. The upward arrow is indicating the product, which product? The gaseous product. And the downward arrow is indicating the solid product which is undergoing the precipitation. Okay, and obviously we can write about the heat. So this is what is a chemical equation at your level, I should say, is. Okay, obviously we are going to know much more than when we are coming to the greater classes. Hope you understood this. Now, not understanding is not only the thing that is going to help you. You have to do thousands of chemical reaction to be balanced by heat and trial method. Whatever is there in your book as the exercise form, you are going to balance this at least for thrice. Then only you will be perfect in balancing. This is the heat and trial method, nothing else. Any other method at this moment we are not going to know. We are going to know it afterwards with other concepts. With knowing the other concepts only we can do it. I know this is the easiest method but time consuming method. In certain more cases, obviously this is complicated when the reaction is bigger. When the reaction is smaller, it's not very complicated. You can just see and you can manage the balancing. So balancing the equation, balancing the chemical equation is your task for next 2 days. Okay, thank you. Just study hard, stay safe, stay healthy. Bye.